It was my scribble. How's everybody doing? Great. Fantastic. The title is Finding Your Place Could Save the World. Isn't that amazing? That finding your own place could actually save the world. Now that's a big chunk to consider. When Mark emailed me, I just happened to catch the email in time, he said, could you switch with me? I'm not ready yet. And so I have to follow my own medicine. And we always tell everyone, be ready to speak, right? I didn't want to speak tonight because I wasn't really ready. Now that might be a little too honest for you. I have some jingles in here, so let me take this out of my pocket. Would you hold that? Maybe loan some to Kevin? Yeah. What I want to do tonight is share with you a little bit of a speech I've just recently given in a different context. The title was Finding Your Place. And it has to do with identifying your gifts and talents, your core gifts and talents, and then using those to maximize not only finding who you are, but where are you supposed to be in this world? Who are you supposed to be with? What effect are you supposed to have? What's your legacy going to look like over the years, or the time that we have here? But as I was thinking about that, I happened to reach into some magazines. Now, maybe you're like me, maybe you're not. I get magazines, my wife gets magazines, and I love reading them, but I just don't seem to have all the time to read them. Like Fortune magazine and Business Week. And I even get this magazine called Toastmasters. Now I try to read that one first, although I want to know what Fortune has to say, especially when it says you can still retire rich, as the current month Fortune magazine says. But I reached out to the Toastmaster, the June edition, and I read an article. How many of you know Don Carroll? How many of you have ever heard of Don Carroll? And so one individual in this room tonight, in the audience, has heard of this gentleman. Fantastic, because I want to tell you who he is. He's featured in the Toastmaster June edition. And as a 2-year-old, playing around in the house, in the garage, he ended up igniting a fire. And that fire burned 80% of his body. And through several years, that little baby had to have many, many surgeries. Lost fingers, lost a hand. And it was a terrible, I mean, if you have children or little cousins, what a terrible tragedy to have happen to such a little person. And we wonder, why do these things happen? And this story is about triumph over tragedy, though. And this little boy is now a grown man. And one of the things that he went through was 80 surgeries, reconstructive surgeries. And during those years, kids would tease him, of course, and he was an outcast. He was made fun of because of the way he looks. And I'm looking at a picture in the Toastmaster magazine. You can't hear me? I'm looking at a picture in the Toastmaster magazine. And he has a hat on, a little beatnik beanie hat. And it's a cool looking dude. And before I read the article, I thought, he looks like a musician or an actor. And actually, he's a profound musician. Through all the pain and suffering, he triumphed. Something he wanted to do was learn to play the drums. And so over the years, he developed a system with the help of some other professionals. And he developed a system starting off with rubber bands. And he actually became a professional drummer and played in several bands in the South. I think in New Orleans, if I'm correct. Triumph over tragedy. But what really caught my attention was the triumph part, because after he became a professional drummer and traveled and played with some major bands, he became a Toastmaster. Now, why did he become a Toastmaster? Oh, I'm getting into this now. Why would he become a Toastmaster? He said that he wanted to change people's perspectives and how people treat each other. And what better way to do that than to get involved in Toastmasters? And the quote in this magazine is absolutely phenomenal. Let me read to you a very simple quote. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Take a moment and really let that in. When you change the way you look at things. We look at people on the surface and we judge. And the thing this young man did was he realized at a very young age that we do that. And so not only did he overcome tragedy, he decided, I'm going to help people. And he found Toastmasters. And so he's featured in this article. And it's titled, Turning Tragedy into Triumph. And this is what this young man looks like today. And to go a step further, he's a professional speaker now. And what does he speak about? What do you think this young man speaks about? The triumph over something very, very personal. And as Fernanda was speaking to, how much more can you give than to help people realize that they can do and be anything they want to do and be. There's no obstacles. One of the things that he's concerned about is that people make excuses. We make excuses for not making the meeting on time. We make excuses for just about everything in life. And life happens. And bad things happen to good people. What I want to share with you today is a new vision that I have. One of my goals is to, as a speaker, is to help people change their lives. And it's not always about helping Toastmasters change their lives. There's a big world out there. And I think that if every single Toastmaster would do two things, we can save our world. We have Toastmaster clubs all around the globe. The first thing that I think we absolutely have to do, and if I could get your help to do this, I need your help, I can't do it alone, is every time we have a guest or a new member come in, if we would kill ourselves racing to get to them, to make them feel comfortable, to go out of our way to ask, how can we help them? And the second thing that we absolutely have to do, we have to go outside and in search of those that we can offer service to. And so I'm asking you tonight,